Art is unleashed self-expressionism in all of its glory, the good, the bad, and the unabashed. Music is what feelings actually sound like. It's the soundtrack of your life, elevating the depth of your experience along the journey. It can also be the voice of a generation, giving you a special sense of belonging. My name is Stefan Vale. That's not the name my parents gave me when I was born. That's the name that I gave myself when I became born again as an indie music recording artist. I'm a musician, producer, filmmaker, playwright, author, writer, choreographer, and educator. I've been making independent music-related art for over 30 plus years. I grew up in D.C., where I began my journey playing in amateur garage bands to pop and rock music. I moved to New York City in the mid-'80s, the golden age. New York City has a unique flow of energy, which gets your creative juices flowing. I get excited just being there. It's always new to me, never boring. Greenwich Village has always been my favorite place to hang out. It's the artsiest place in the world to me, where I come to get inspired to create. The entire vibe is so rich with creative energy. There I studied at music arts college and attended industry workshops by notable producers. And I built an analog home recording studio in my Manhattan apartment, where I produced cassette demo tapes to send out to record labels all over the city, as I tried to get a recording contract, along with thousands of other aspiring musicians. Back then, studio time was really expensive, and producing an album was a major financial investment with no guarantees of success. And there were a lot of scams out there. So I set out to do it on my own, by using a 4-track cassette recorder and a whole lot of trial and error. It was in music arts school where I learned the hard truth about the business from an industry insider who candidly revealed to the class the hard truth when he said, "It's a ruthless and highly political den of thieves out there, and most of you will never make it past the gatekeepers, no matter how much raw talent you have. So if you're looking for fame and fortune, then you're going to be very, very disappointed." So after a decade of trying to claw my way into that den, no matter what the cost, I decided to give up and move to Miami to escape the cold winters and the inner city madness. Miami is a sweaty hot mess of sunshine, bikinis, loud music, even louder people, and humidity, all wrapped up in a pastelito with a cortadito to wake you up from your cognitive hangover. The arts and music scene has come a long way since I moved here in the 1990s. Wynwood and Midtown used to be shitty little areas in Miami. Now, let's face it, they're still fundamentally shitty, but with art murals, trendy restaurants, and skyscrapers. It does remind me a little of Greenwich Village, though. Well, maybe the East Village, or even Alphabet City back in the 80s. Miami has always been a haven for snowbirds to escape to and start over. When I moved to Miami, I discovered a vibrant Latin music and dance scene, and I got swept away in the salsa dance craze, becoming a dance competitor and editor-in-chief of an urban magazine that promoted salsa dance-related events. And then during a trip to Spain, I was introduced to the beauty of the flamenco guitar, and my interest in making music was reignited again, almost a decade later. But by this time, digital music technology had transformed the recording process, enabling me to do more than I'd ever done before, and on my own terms, to become a truly independent music artist. Since then, I've recorded several albums, been featured on several radio stations, and received several Indie Music Award nominations, and I've performed at several incredible venues. In the studio, I sometimes feel like a mad scientist. I hate the actual recording process because it's tedious sometimes, but I love producing. That's where the story is created. Today's technology makes it much easier to edit the story, but the vintage equipment still has a unique character unto its own, like a familiar old friend from the past who can never be forgotten or exactly replicated. The music industry today is now very superficial and inundated with marginally talented false idols, DJs, and rappers, which are purposely dummying down the listening public with music minutiae. The proliferation of digital music for free has made it significantly more difficult for true artists to make a living by just recording and distributing their music. You have to play live gigs and tour, which can be expensive and even cost prohibitive for some people. Long gone are the days when people actually bought vinyl albums, posters, tapes, and CDs from record stores. Today they're mostly empty and just hanging on financially by a thread. Music artists are always complaining about what went wrong with the industry and how to quote-unquote save the music. The truth is, the technocrats took control by offering record labels distribution deals and offering the public free music through streaming and downloading services, while the artists themselves had to settle for pennies on the dollar in exchange for getting their stuff out there on platforms over the internet. Some artists have perpetuated the problem by creating albums and then just giving them away for free as a promotional tool. to help sell tickets to their live shows and other merchandise sales, which is where the real money is. But when you give things away, people instinctively devalue it. It wasn't free to produce the album. It cost thousands of dollars, time and effort. That's why some artists are going back to making vinyl albums. It's tangible merchandise, which can't be so easily distributed for free. I don't even own a record player, and I certainly don't want to go backwards. My advice to young musicians is learn how to play an instrument or two at a high level, and then use that foundation to go out and create something truly different that's never been done before, something unique and edgy. Cut out the middleman by learning various aspects of what it takes to create music so you can cover those roles and then produce, promote, and distribute your own product and avoid the gatekeepers, which have typically monopolized the industry and kept so many new artists from emerging on the scene. Specifically learn the process of arrangement, songwriting, audio recording, performing live, video recording and editing, marketing and promotion, artist development, etc. These days it's easier to learn how to do it all without a record label. My message to the next generation of music artists is simple. Be unique, independent, self-motivated, and driven to create solely for self-expression purposes, not for the pursuit of fame and fortune. Those things are preferred but really beyond your control. You can be whoever you want to be in life, but that doesn't mean that others have to accept what you do. That's their choice. Don't let anyone stop you from being who you were meant to be, though, in all of your glory. For times will change, but what you create in life will become your documented legacy.